Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another day of Mixed Media Mayhem combined with May I Scraplift You. Today I am scraplifting Miranda Weber, and I'm really excited about this one. This is actually a double page layout that she did for Stretch the Sketch, and I'm just doing one half of it, but I'm going to completely flip mine over so that my papers are on the opposite side. So I have these two photos. It's me and the little one that I take care of, and these are taken up in Tahoe when I went with their family. I apologize for the little smiley over the screen. I forgot to put something to block her face out out of respect for privacy for her family, and so you're going to see that little smiley show up here and there. Now I also have a thumbnail there of the lift that I am doing from Miranda, and it might move around on the screen as well, given their photographs are probably laying on my desk under that. So I'm starting out with some ink, some Distress Oxide ink in Festive Berries. And then I am also going to pull in some Distress Oxide ink in Faded Jeans. And I'm inking up the two edges of the paper, or two edges, the two sheets of paper, not two edges, to create the colored cardstock or the layers that Miranda has on hers. Now, I didn't have a paper that I really wanted to use that was not overly busy, so I decided to go ahead and ink it. It is also one of the requirements on our Mixed Media Mayhem recipe for this week. The other two requirements are washi tape and leaves, and I am kind of doing a cheat because my paper that you see to the left hand side there is got leaves on it. They are pine leaves, pine needles. I don't know. Hopefully that qualifies. And I apologize for the little wiggling gray matter on the left hand side of the screen there. That is one of the lights that I use when I am traveling, and these were done at a retreat, and I did not realize it was capturing that in the video, so my apologies for that. I am liking the way that this is going down. The ink blending. It's much easier to do the ink blending with a blending brush than it is one of the little foam pads. So if you haven't tried those out before, I highly recommend ink blending brushes. They are fabulous and much easier to work with, especially through a stencil like this. Now, I'm not obviously using my blending brush through this stencil. I am actually using a baby wipe, and it is removing a bit of the oxide ink so that you can see a very light pattern of those snowflakes. And I really like the way that looks because it's a nod to the snowy photos or snowy trip that we took, but it's not really bold and in your face, so the pattern is very subtle. Also, you're not going to see like a whole sheet of it. You're just seeing these three sides as they come in from the outside left edge of my base paper. So there you got it to see a little bit of a close-up there. I am going to use this striped paper. She had white on her background. I'm using the stripes, and I really like that. Now I'm going to try the same technique with this red Festive Berries. I don't end up liking the way that it looks because my little holes are too small, so it kind of just looked like little speckles. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to rub more of the Festive Berries through the stencil. So I'm doing ink on ink instead, and I like the way that looks better, but I need a little bit darker ink. So by rubbing it into my actual ink pad, that does help rather than just trying to use the ink that was left over on the brush. A lot of times I can just use the ink that's left over on the brush because it's not, I'm not looking for really bold coverage, but in this case I was looking for the more bold coverage. I also like the way that the blue and the red work together, hoping it's not too patriotic looking, I guess, with that striped background and having the tan in it. I think it doesn't look super patriotic, and it does kind of mimic the photos. You are going to see the photos towards the end again, and you will see how the colors kind of play well together. In the two photos, we are standing in this ginormous chair in Tahoe, and the chair is made out of skis. And so I thought that worked really well. Now there is a banner piece, a large banner piece in yellow on Miranda's layout, And I am going to go ahead and mimic that using this tan paper with more snowflakes on it. So that brings in more of the snowy kind of theme and ties it into that blue background paper. And I really like the way that that looks. I am inking all of this up with some, I think I'm using frayed burlap distress ink at this moment in time. Actually, I started with frayed burlap. I think I went to gathered twig because the frayed burlap was just a little bit too light and kind of veered towards the green side. So especially next to the blue, you don't notice that it's got a little bit of the hint of the green when you are just using it by itself, but next to the blue and the red, it wasn't working as well, and I needed something a little darker. So I ended up using the gathered twig, and I think I actually ended up putting a little bit of black around there as well too. And I think that really helps give the layers a lot of definition. So that's one of the reasons I decided to go ahead and ink it up with a darker color. Also in my photograph, there are a lot of dark tones, so that helps with that as well. So now that I've got the basics of all of my layering down, I am going to move on to working on a little bit of the embellishing. And while I ink this up, just want to remind you, there are people playing along with Mixed Media Mayhem. The links to their channel or their videos should be down below for you, so you can go and check that out. And then the link to the playlist for May I Scraplift You is down below, so you can go and check out anybody who is playing along with May I Scraplift You. So I'm going to go ahead and add these photos. Now I didn't feel like I needed to put a little smiley over the tiny photo because when I blew it up, you can't really see her anyway because it's from so far back, but you get a better view of what we are standing on. And that's why I included that photo in there. You may have noticed that I did sprinkle some white over the top of the layout before adding those photos. And that was just either some Dilutions white, I don't remember, or actually, you know what? I think it was silver because the silver bottle's sitting off to the side there. So that is some Media Gloss from Dina Wakley in Sterling. So that is what that was. Not white at all. I did like this tag. This is from Pink Fresh Studio. I really like the Oh What Fun part. I'm going to end up using that on a different layout. I didn't make the cut on this one, but I really like the top of the tag. And I liked this piece that says the world changes when it snows. And that is certainly true, especially this winter. I mean, everything in California has been kind of crazy with regard to the weather. And so I thought that worked out perfectly. Now this little acrylic piece that looks like a sweater there is not going to make the cut to this layout. It's just the wrong shade of blue and too bulky for my tastes on this layout. Now I did just add a little bit of washi to the top of that tag, and it is just some silver and white sparkle or iridescent white sparkle washi, just to give a little bit more sparkle to this page, and I think that looks really cool. I also am going to add a little bit underneath this blue label. The blue label is from that Pink Fresh set that you just saw me working from, and that was on the give and take table at our retreat. So I pulled a few things off of there, and then MK took the rest of it to work with some of her photos. And then I'm still using the winter collection that I've been working with for these set of photos, and that collection's from Echo Park. Now off screen, I did add a couple of large snowflakes. Those are actually just made out of some parchment paper because all of my glitter paper was sticking into the dies, and so I used some parchment to help remove them from the dies, and I really liked the way that they looked with that tan snowflake paper, so I decided to go ahead and pop those in there. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe if you don't mind. I will see you guys again real soon with another video. Bye-bye.